Hello everyone, welcome to the Old Man and the Read. My name is Jerry. Today I'm going to talk about another one of my favorite writers, Haruki Murakami. Murakami is a Japanese writer. He was born in 1949 and he wrote or writes novels and short stories. But he's a writer that's just a lot of fun to read, but very hard to categorize in any particular genre. His books verge on sci-fi and fantasy, but really don't fit into either of those categories as far as I'm concerned. And a lot of them seem to have a magical realism to them, but again, those don't really fit into that category either. He just seems to write stories that verge on stories that go into alternate universes at times. But anyway, I will show you the books I've read by him and say a little bit about them. The first book I have is actually two of his earliest novellas. They're the first two of a trilogy titled The Rat. And the first one is Hear the Wind Sing. This was published in 1979. And the story is narrated by an unnamed protagonist. And he's home from college. The story really has no plot, but he and his friend the Rat drink a lot of beer, and the protagonist has relationships with a few girls in the story, but the most interesting is probably one who seems to have a missing finger. The second novella in the book is Pinball 1973, and this was published in 1980, and it has the same unnamed narrator, but he's now working as a translator, and he seems to play a lot of pinball. He's having sex with twin sisters, and he can't tell either of them apart. But there really isn't a lot that happens in this book either. Eventually he's been playing a lot of pinball, but then he discovers that his favorite pinball machine is missing, and he has drinks with his buddy the Rat at Jay's bar. The next book I have is A Wild Sheep Chase, published in 1982, and this is the third of the Rat series, and it's again narrated by the same unnamed narrator, but he's now been recently divorced. He works in advertising, and they've published a photo with a sheep in it that was sent to him by the Rat, his friend the Rat. Then he's notified by the secretary of a man known as the Boss, and he's told to stop publishing the photo. The photo has a sheep in it that has a star on the side, and he's told that this is the source of the boss's power, and he's told to find the sheep. So the narrator and his girlfriend set out on a really strange quest to find the sheep, and after a whole series of rather bizarre events, he meets up with his friend the Rat, and then this leads to an equally bizarre ending. The next book is South of the Border, West of the Sun, published in 1992. And this follows a man, Hijami. He's fallen in love with a girl, Shimamoto, when he was 12. But then his family moves away and he loses contact with Shimamoto. He grows up leads a fairly aimless life, having several relationships, but then ends up getting married when he's 30. He had been working as a textbook editor up till that point, but now his new father-in-law has given him the opportunity to open his own jazz bar. And so he does that. And then, so by the age of 37, he's now in a very good marriage and has 2 daughters. But then into the bar walked Shimamoto, the young girl he knew from years before when he was 12. And this rekindles some old feelings after 25 years. The next book is The Elephant Vanishes. This is a short story collection. This was published in 1993. And some of the short stories I'll mention. The Second Bakery Attack. And this is about a man and woman who rob a McDonald's and demand 30 Big Macs. Another titled Sleep is about a woman who has not slept for 17 days. She spends her time reading and driving around. And the story kind of has a horrible ending to it. The next story is A Window. And this is about a man working at the Pen Society. He reads and edits stories that are sent from various writers. He later then meets up with one of the women who's submitted a story, and he has dinner with her. And then the last story I'll mention is the title story, The Elephant Vanishes, and this is about an elephant and his keeper who disappear. The next book is The Windup Bird Chronicles, published in 1994, and this is about a man, Toru Ukada, and he's a house husband living in Tokyo. One day his cat goes missing and he goes out looking for it. This sets him off on a really bizarre journey, including being stuck down in a dry well. His wife leaves him and he then begins spending more time in the dry well. The next book is Sputnik Sweetheart, published in 1999, and this is a story narrated by a man known as K. He's in love with a young woman named Sumari, and she is actually in love with an older woman, Miu. Miu contacts Sumari or contacts K and notifies him that Sumari is missing, and so this sends K on a quest to find Sumari, and he looks for her on a Greek island after the call from Miu, and leads him on a very surreal search. Next book is Kafka on the Shore, published in 2002, and this follows Kafka Tumaru. He's a 15-year-old boy who has run away from home. At the same time, there's a man named Nakata, and he's an older man who has the ability to communicate with cats. Nakata is on a search for a missing cat, and ends up missing cat, and ends up meeting Kafka, and the two of them then begin a very surreal, magical journey, searching for cat. The next book I have is really just a little tiny thing that I ordered online. I didn't realize just how small it was, but this is titled Birthday Girl. It was published in 2002, and it's really just a short story. But it's about a woman on her 20th birthday, and she's asked to deliver her boss a meal in the restaurant where she is a waitress. He then offers to grant her wish for her birthday. The next book I have is quite the opposite from the other one. This is quite a big book. This is 1Q84, published in 2009. And the story has basically two narrations going. One follows a woman named Omami, and the other about a man named Tango. Omami, after getting out of a taxi, begins to realize that she is now in an alternate dimension, and especially after seeing that there are now two moons. And Tango is a man rewriting a novel that has been sent by a girl who is actually telling a true story about her life in a cult. Umami, turns out, is a hit woman, and she is out to assassinate the leader of the cult, and the two narratives eventually converge into one story. And the last book I have is Colourless Sukaro and Sukaro Tazaki and his pilgrimage, published in and his years of pilgrimage, published in 2013. And Sukaro Tazaki grew up with 4 close friends, and they only associated with each other. They had each of the friends had colors in their names, but his didn't, so that's why he's known as Colourless Sukaro. But he ends up going to college in Tokyo, and after being there for a while, he is contacted and told that he is no longer welcome to be friends with the others. So this began a 16-year separation from his friends, and then at the age of 36 he heard that one of the girls of the group had died, and so he decided to set out to try to find why he had been disowned so many years before. But those are the books I've read by Haruki Murakami. Just an exceptionally good writer, but just wrote some very unusual stories. So I want to thank you for watching the video, and hopefully I'll see you on another. Thanks.